Today, I'm going to make biodiesel fuel from cooking oil and a few household ingredients. This project was really satisfying, and I think it's more accessible to the average person than most of what I do on this channel. To get started, all you have to do is add 1 part methanol to 5 parts oil, and then toss in a little sodium or potassium hydroxide. As a side note, methanol can be purchased as a fuel system cleaner for your car, and sodium hydroxide is just strain cleaner. In any case, for this batch, I used 500 milliliters of oil, 100 milliliters of methanol, and 5 g of sodium hydroxide. I then cooked the mixture at 80 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes to push the reaction to completion. This can also be done at lower heat over a longer period of time, but I'm pretty impatient. Now, what's happening here is a two-step reaction that begins with the formation of sodium methoxide from sodium hydroxide and methanol. Sodium methoxide is extremely reactive, and in a step it'll react with the oil in what's called a transesterification reaction. To give you an idea of what's happening, fats are primarily composed of molecules called triglycerides, which are basically 3 fatty acid molecules bound to a glycerol. Sodium methoxide is basically able to tear these fatty acids off of glycerol and then bind themselves onto the carboxylic acid. This continues until all 3 fatty acids have been removed, leaving glycerol as a side product. Anyway, once the reaction is complete, I allow it to cool, filter off the sodium hydroxide, and transfer the filtrate to a large separatory funnel. This is allowed to sit overnight to allow all of the glycerol and solid impurities to settle to the bottom, while all of the biodiesel will stay on top. When I came back the next day, I found that the glycerol layer had solidified, and so it might be better to just decant it off to begin with and not bother with the separatory funnel. To this end, I went ahead and decanted my crude biodiesel out of my separatory funnel and then cleaned it thoroughly. I then returned my crude biodiesel back to my separatory funnel to begin the washing process. For the washing process, I basically want to remove any water-soluble impurities from my biodiesel, and this is done by adding an equal volume of water to my crude biodiesel and shaking thoroughly in the separatory funnel. The water layer containing any impurities will settle to the bottom, where it can be drained away and discarded. This is repeated 3 times until the water layer runs clear, and then I do a 4th and final rinse using saturated sodium chloride. This final brine rinsing is really important because it helps to draw a lot of the moisture out of the crude biodiesel. Once I drain my brine away, I then drain my now much cleaner biodiesel into a flask and then add in hydrosodium sulfate. And hydrosodium sulfate is a very good drying agent and will pull any remaining moisture out at the molecular level. This is again allowed to sit